Hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's Board of Education meeting. We called our meeting to order earlier in our closed executive session, so we are ready to begin, and hopefully everyone enjoyed-ish their snow day, and at least I know the kids did. So we're going to kick things right off, and I'm going to invite Dr. Jessica Smedley to come up and give us a presentation for our special public hearing on harassment, intimidation, and bullying.
All right, thank you, everyone. So I'm here tonight to give our semi-annual report, which covers reporting period 1 for our school year, which is July 2025 to December 2025. So tonight we'll just briefly review New Jersey's definition of HIB, take a look at our data that we have over these last 4 months, and also take a look and talk through our trainings and programs that we continue to do, as well as our restorative practices. So quick review for everyone. Our definition of HIB is any gesture, any written, verbal, or physical act, or any electronic communication, whether it be a single incident or series of incidents. And so in order to be considered a founded incident of HIB, it has to meet all 4 of these. Reasonably perceived as being motivated by an actual or perceived characteristic, that this incident takes place on school property, at any school-sponsored function, on a school bus, or off-school grounds, and must substantially disrupt or interfere with the orderly operation of the school or the rights of students. And just to review, we now are using preliminary determination. We made this change in the summer of 2024 with the board policy to allow for some principal discretion through preliminary determination, that when we get a report that could be just conduct or is found to not be something worth investigating because it doesn't meet those prongs, and we know that there is an opportunity for the administration and the anti-bullying specialist in coordination with me as the anti-bullying coordinator to review that case and see what action is appropriate. And we'll go through those numbers tonight too. So first off, our preliminary determination, we had 18 total preliminary determinations, and this does include July through December. We did not have any incidents in the summer this year, which is a change from last year. So talk a little bit about that trend as we get into the patterns and trends. But we had, so 50% of those preliminary determinations took place at the high school level. 44.4% took place in our middle schools, and 5.6% in the K-5. Our reporting period total, so total actual investigations, we had 52. So 35 were found to be founded, 17 were unfounded. And in this period, for the first time that I noticed in taking a look over the 3 years that I've been doing the report, it's the first time we did not have any that were inconclusive, which to me points to having that preliminary determination as a possibility, because we've been able to sort of suss out what might be happening or whether it's appropriate to investigate the incident as a HIB, or really just take a look at it from a conduct and or restorative practices, perhaps a peer mediation. The inconclusive ones tend to be that there just isn't enough witness statement, and so it's just an accusation. Then through interviewing, you're able to really get whether or not it meets all 4 criteria or if it does not. Okay, HIB investigations by grade band. We had our highest at 46.2% in K through 5. I'll talk a little bit about what we see as or what may be some of the factors involving that when we took an internal look at our data analysis. 42.3% happened in grades 6 through 8, and 11.5% in grades 9 through 12. So those total number of incidents pre-K to 5 was 24, 6 through 8 was 22, and 9 through 12 was 6. Okay, so these are only for founded incidents of HIB by location. So this only includes our founded incident. We have 42.3% were in a classroom. Generally, this tracks with the highest number or highest percentage being in our K through 5 buildings, because oftentimes that reporting form is coming from a teacher. They suspect something, a student may say something to them, and in K to 5, while we make every attempt when developmentally appropriate to have the student do the report themselves, we know that our K to 5 students need the most help in filing the report. So when you get classroom, it's something that happened with the teacher. They are our most often informant. We also have a relatively high percentage of 13.5% on the playground, and the same on the school bus. So we know unstructured time, there aren't adults necessarily as close to monitor, but they are still doing the reporting. So these are often incidents that are reported. We have some by bus drivers, certainly this is our highest number of reports by parents, because kids get off the bus and let their family know about what's happening. They let us know and we deal with it. And our cafeteria aides and our playground assistants help with that as well. So kind of tracks it where the adults are getting the reports, that they are then making the report and filling out the state form. Our other categories, really encompasses a lot of outside of school. In this case, it's 11.5%. That is not that many incidents overall, and they could be from sporting events. So we've had a few of those where something happens to one of our athletes, and there's been they make an accusation that, unfortunately, even when it is not tied to our school district as the offender, we do still count that in our investigation and our incidents. Hallway, another unstructured time. Lunchroom, we also know that's an unstructured time. So hallway and lunchroom both had 7.7%. And then the internet, which, could include cell phones too. Cell phone is generally texting, maybe Snapchat, social media, 1.9%, and the internet also at 1.9%. A little bit of a trend change that we've noticed over the past, comparing fall to fall, so reporting period to reporting period, but also over the course of the last year, our number one distinguishing characteristic is appearance with 38.5%. You'll see on here, so these are reported potential acts of HIB. None is really just the alleged, the ones that we found to be not founded incidents of HIB. And that's generally why they're not considered, because there is no distinguishing characteristic. Our second highest of founded HIBs is ancestry at 13.5%. Gender and race and ethnicity are both at 9.6%, disability at 1.9%, and sexual harassment is 3.8%. So I'll come back to this one in the trends as well. So year-by-year comparison, last year, same reporting time versus this year, we are up slightly. So last year at this time, we had 42 total reported incidents. This year we have 52. Founded were 24 last year. Founded this year is up 35. And the unfounded cases were about the same. So we see a little bit of a trend upward, which again, we'll talk about some of those in the trends. Our month-by-month analysis, generally we do see, so in September or November, we had the highest number of incidents, and this generally has also tracked with what we've seen. That we tend to see, so in October, counselors, teachers were doing a lot of awareness around reteaching about HIB, the importance of reporting, being an upstander, so standing up when you hear or see something being said, and so we tend to see that increase. It's Violence Awareness Week is celebrated in October, Red Ribbon Week, And we're out there talking about anti-bullying, and so that tends to see a little bit of an increase. It's also the middle to end of October is kind of the end of the honeymoon period, if we have one at all, which it's this year it felt like we just got started with all kinds of things in first week of September, but it tends to be the end. The kids have known each other for 5 or 6 weeks at that point, so much like siblings, sometimes in families you get to know what pushes each other's buttons, and so sometimes we see an increase of that. And students are better informed about what to do and say if they do see a potential incident of HIB. Okay, so patterns and trends. We saw no incidents reported over the summer. So last year in 2024, we did have quite a few, and those were tied to end of the year, which unfortunately we got a report of several potential victims and several potential offenders the day before school ended. So then that ends up on the following year's report because we count our data based on when the board approves the incidents. So we had nothing, and which is great because we continue to increase our summer programming for students. So we have more students engaged in our academic programs over the summer. We added a class this year, that added a section, and we still did not have any incidents. So we're glad about that. I mentioned this, but classroom teachers are the most common reporters of potential active HIB, particularly at the K-5. So 2/3 of our cases were determined to be found at incidents. That is a trend upward. But I think, when we take a look at it, the ABSs, the anti-bullying specialists, and I, sometimes with other administrators as well, take a look at this data month by month and really dig into what's going on, what is happening, how are we dealing with things in a restorative fashion. I believe some of our increase is due to what I would widely say internet usage, things like even for younger students. So we're big increase in 4th and 5th grade in those total number of incidents. They also there are games and apps and things that are allowing for chat at a younger age. We know that some of our students have devices that they use besides their Chromebooks at home. So we saw that was a pretty big number of incidents that were happening off campus. So that, I'll talk a little bit about our training and programs as well. I'm sure you've heard the news about the cell phones and social media and the damage that it's doing. I mean, it's a pretty hot topic. We are seeing that locally here as well. Also, in several of our incidents, particularly in the 3 to 5 band, we see what I might call retaliatory, like you're investigating one incident and then you find out in the course of the investigation that you actually have another incident. And so they're sort of like nested Russian dolls. And so you keep uncovering things. And so that happens too, where they're in a 1-week period, we can see like there's 3 and there's maybe some witnesses that are crossing over, or you interview witnesses and you start talking to the kids and they say, well, yeah, but this also happened. And so we're always digging, down to the deepest, the bottom of the well to try to figure out what do we have and what do the kids need? What do we need to do restoratively? What do we need to do in our classrooms? What do we need to even message and perhaps provide programming for parents and caretakers about some of the risks that are out there? Our highest number of incidents was in November, which I already mentioned. So appearance and ancestry were the 2 most common distinguishing characteristics. By and large, the number one is appearance, and that's almost exclusively fat shaming. And so we can sort of surmise with that or do with that information what we can, but a huge increase in that. And I am certainly not hip to a lot of YouTube or social media people, but from what I hear, several slurs, even sort of self-inflicted name calling is trending on some of these sites. And I think younger siblings are hearing it when we investigate, like, how do you know what that word is? How do you know what fat back is? Like, it's usually because there's exposure to something that's internet-based. So we will continue to combat those negative messages coming into school. And we know that we have tight guardrails on what happens in school. It's very hard to have tight guardrails on what happens outside of school. But we will continue to work on that. And so our trainings, programs, and initiatives for the fall of 2025, we have, this work aligns well with our strategic goals. Our school counselors are out doing lessons in K-5 through our second step curriculum, which teaches things like empathy, anti-bullying, emotional regulation, kindness, being a good citizen. So we continue with our professional development and training for staff. We have mental health and counseling staff available, including our UBHC clinicians. Our culture and climate teams are busy, and they meet monthly in their schools as well. And like I mentioned, we have the anti-bullying meetings every month where we take a look at and plan for even what maybe needs to go out in a newsletter. So, for example, when I know that some of our principals at that 3 to 5 level, both and even all the way through, have messaged to families like, this is happening. This trend of roasting, again, seems to be, I don't have children of my own. I feel like I have a lot of children, but none of my own. So I don't see this firsthand. And so I'm probably not the best person to explain how that happens and where we get that from, but the kids even call it that. So again, you get roasting, like teasing, but this cutting form. And then when you have those other characteristics or the other prongs that students might be fearful to come to school, or they're trying to avoid someone, then that's when we have to step in and get involved. So our data-driven approaches to bullying prevention, I talked about our monthly meetings, our universal supports for students. So tier 1, those are our lessons. Our teachers also do that and incorporate it in at the K-5 level into their responsive classroom work. Our school monthly themes also blend all of these things together. And then inclusion of talking about and analyzing what are our behavior supports in our multi-tiered systems of support meetings. So this year, for the first year, it's the first time we're really blending the two of when we take a look at, and that's just part of our initiative to take a look at the whole child. And again, not only victims of any of these incidents, but also offenders, kids who need help, right? We take a look holistically. What are we doing for their social emotional / behavioral needs? And what are we doing alongside what are we doing for instructional needs? And sometimes we find they're the same students, and sometimes we find they are not, that they need different things. So we use the tiered approach, just like we do with instruction for behavior improvement, modification. So, and then of course, we just put our district mission up here that we're committed to providing all students with a safe learning environment that is free from harassment, intimidation, and bullying. We adhere to the New Jersey Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights. We provide training to all staff to identify, report, and address HIB. We proactively educate caregivers, students, and Board of Education members. And we work every day to establish and maintain positive school communities. Our expectations and commitment to the safety and respectful behavior for all students. Okay.
All right, thank you, Dr. Smedley.
Yes.
Do we have any questions from the board for Dr. Smedley? I see Dana.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I need you to remind me what the difference is between ancestry and race and ethnicity, and then where would religion fall in? Which category would that be in?
Religion is its own, so we didn't have any in religion.
Okay.
That's why it's not on the pie chart. And race, ethnicity, and, well, some of this is in the eye of the beholder of the investigator. I'm trying to decide if I should give you an example or if it's too much for public. So go back to your country, might be something more, or there are some incidents making fun of food preferences or not preferences. Some cross into physical appearance and country of origin or ancestry more widely. Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Ajanta.
Thanks so much for your presentation. I had a question about the slide which talked about distinguishing characteristics.
Okay.
The two biggest factors you said, appearance and ancestry. Do you have either, do staff and teachers get, or do you have that data aggregated by grade band to see if those two characteristics are the same highest number you're seeing across different grades?
I didn't do that. I mean, yes, we have it. I don't have it ready. I would say the appearance is just from reading every one of the reports and preparing the board, reports for the meetings. I would say appearance tends to be in the 3 to 8 band primarily. Same thing with the overwhelming amount of fat shaming. Anecdotally, it's the biggest problem in upper elementary.
Go ahead, Loy. You have a question.
Just a clarification for the summer reporting. I know you said it was 0 this time. For the summer, it's just the WWP summer programs, right? Like if there's a camp from the township that's being hosted in our schools, those are not part of. They have their own way that they. Okay,
Right.
That was clarification. And then the other thing I had a question about, probably related to what you were just saying about maybe the 3rd to 5th grade bands. I know you said that there's like a uptick in like internet, maybe searches and whatnot, and I'm looking at it and like the founded incidents on internet is 1.9, but how does that translate then to the 42.3 in the classroom? I know you mentioned some incidents about fat shaming. I guess, is there a way in the second step curriculum that's kind of, does the curriculum address those kind of things as you see these trends kind of come up year to year, is there a way that the school or the district is addressing those upticks, I guess, if that makes
Yes.
sense?
So
Yeah.
multi-prong approach to addressing the uptick. I would say broadly, kindness, like knowing, second step certainly does a lot to teach. It's in the empathy unit. They call it empathy. It's tied to some amount. So the CASTLE competencies, which are SEL national competencies, call it self-awareness, that like how do you know how it's landing, right? And so intent, we do a lot of work on intent versus impact, and we hope that the learning takes place there. Again, that's more restorative the first time, maybe even the second time it happens. But then if that could look at a tier 3, like someone who needs more intervention is like, what's happening with you? But we do a lot of that. That's even emotional regulation. What's happening with me now? And how is someone, right, we teach active listening, like even a watch for facial expressions, something like that, that is there, there's a didactic piece of that, of like, how are we together right now? And our teachers do that naturally in their classrooms. That's really widely, more broadly, how do we know we're in a climate that we like, that we want to be in? How are we, each of us, playing a part in that for staff, even at staff trainings? Here's some things, we have resources. We're using a middle school and high school SEL program called Wayfinder that has easy sort of bite-sized pieces of leading a discussion in class that's inclusive. How to teach teaching kids to have an inclusive discussion. Our sense of belonging, we're committed to that as well. And so, yes, we address it in classrooms. Where I mean the internet, and we could just broaden that to television, media in general. They hear it and they're testing it out in. So they're not necessarily on they might be. There are a few that are video games, like some sort of chatting feature in a video game. And I know the PTSAs have sponsored events for parents about like, do you know what's on there, and things like hidden apps and like permissions and tracking and all of that. And I think there's probably a need for us to collectively work together on doing that again. It changes so fast that to say like, oh, we did that last year. Well, think about how much different last year is from this year when you think about exposure, AI, bots, et cetera. That I do think that's something I know we're talking with Dr. Dauber at GMS. His PTSA has been very interested in this. They've had a grant in the past to bring in information on social media. We are always looking for feedback for additional like parent universities to bring the information in because, like I said, I can tell you all about what we teach and how we do this. I don't have a kid with a device. I don't really want to know about any of them. I'm not on the apps myself. So I live like sort of a sheltered life, but I see the impact of it, and kids do need, and families need direct instruction in like not hiding, not posting things that you wouldn't want your mom or your best friend or a teacher to see because of the permanency of online traffic. I think that is, we do it in lessons. There's definitely, it happens in school, but I think as a community, I think it's going to take a multi-pronged approach. I know that Governor Cheryl just last week did do an executive order the day she was sworn in about creating a task force and an interdepartmental agency with the Department of Education, the Department of Health, and has already made the commitment to, we need everybody involved. So Department of Health, you're talking like pediatricians, talking about dangers of social media, symptoms, things that come up, signs and symptoms to look for. How do we prevent this from happening? And like we all play a part in helping these kids grow up healthy, safe and secure and feeling secure.
Thank you. I agree. It does take a village. So it's definitely all players. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you brought up the point about the parent universities, because previous parent universities where internet use and safety have been a topic are on the district website. So I know it's hard for people to schedule it in at the time of the presentation, but it's on the district website. It's always good to look back on it. I've been able to attend a few of them. Really helpful information, I think, for families.
Yes.
So it would be great for even more people to get that information and learn from it. I'm going to look over to this side, and Liz and then Shweta.
Thank you for your presentation. Just a quick question about the preliminary determinations. So do those appear on the student's record?
A preliminary determination does not. And several of those 18, I just want to make sure everyone knows, like, well, one, in a preliminary determination, it's not an ignoring of it. It's just taking a look, is this the right path? Or is a HIB investigation the right path? Or is another investigation, which our assistant principals and principals are very well trained in, does this need a different path? So there are at least a third of those. I know this sounds ridiculous, but sometimes if you press the button too quickly on the state form, it creates a duplicate. So sometimes there's a duplicate. And sometimes parents don't get a response. It's usually with parents, but they don't get a response fast enough, and so they do a second form. So again, a duplicate. Doesn't happen often, but it is part of that. So I don't want you to think there were 18 times that we just decided like this doesn't seem like it's worthy of an investigation.
Thank you. I just had a question about the monthly meetings with the anti-bullying specialist and coordinator. When they're looking at different trends and data, how are they then communicating that with maybe the counseling staff, so then the lessons in Tier 1 is addressing those trends?
Well, luckily, although I don't know if they would say it this way, all of our ABSs are the counselors. So in K-5, all of our counselors serve in that role as anti-bullying specialists, so it directly informs. And we also have it on we do a review, like a summary. So in our 6 through 8 and 9 through 12 buildings, our student assistance counselors are the anti-bullying specialists. They share that information on the agenda of our school counseling meeting. So they're kind of like the chariots of that. They also bring it back to the school climate and culture teams, who are usually the ones planning like a Grover Day or De-Stress Fest at North. So some of the, again, tying it back to what's happening in our school, how could we do that? I know one of the trends or one of the activities for De-Stress Fest that just happened at High School North, I think now 2 weeks ago, it was in direct response to a student on the Climate and Culture Committee making a recommendation for a session or an activity that our student assistance counselor was able to run.
Any other questions? No? I just had a light bulb moment that Grover Day is tied to the mental health. Since I've heard about Grover Day, I just thought it was, a fun day. But look at that.
Yes, yes, directly, yes. The SEL committee and the Grover Day Planning Committee would definitely be glad that you know that. So, yes.
So I was given an announcement that there's a Toyota Camry in the parking lot with the headlights on.
That
You
might
drive
be
a
me.
Toyota Camry?
Yep, I do.
Oh, the
Okay,
headlights.
guess I'll go deal with that. Hopefully
That's a
before my
PSA.
battery runs out. Okay, all right,
That is
great.
perfect timing. Well, thank you, Dr. Smedley.
I said, what a perfect time. Wait, I didn't even pay him to give me an exit ticket. So, all right, well, thanks.
Off the hot seat.
All right, thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much. So that takes us to our special opportunity for public comment on harassment, intimidation, and bullying. The board invites thoughts and reactions on the harassment, intimidation, and bullying report from members of our community who are present. Each participant is asked to give his or her name and address prior to making a statement, which will be limited to 3 minutes in accordance with Board Policy 0167. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. This public comment period shall be limited to 15 minutes. Do we have any public comments specifically related to the HIB presentation? Seeing none, I'll close this public comment period. And can I get a motion to accept the July 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025 District Semi-Annual Report of Harassment, Intimidation, and Bullying as required by the New Jersey State Department of Education under the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act? Liz and Loy. Any questions? Good. Okay, so ready for a roll?
Okay, we'll start with Ms. Cheniera,
Yes.
Ms. Maliga,
Yes.
Ms. Krug,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Ms. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Shetty,
Yes.
Ms. DeSebastian,
Yes.
and Ms. McEwen.
Yes. That adjourns our special public hearing on harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So that takes us to our regularly scheduled program, and we're happy to have Ms. Jessica Sincata here as our administrator in charge this week, while Dr. Adderhold is attending the Fulbright Finland program along with other educational leaders to learn and share innovative solutions to common challenges. So good for him, and somehow we might have a little bit more snow than he does. So I'll have Ms. Sincata take over.
Thank you very much. Yes, just a couple of quick updates in Dr. Adderhold's absence today. Due to our closure yesterday for inclement weather and all of the snow, the district will now be in session on Tuesday, May 26th. Our school calendars have been updated on the website, and we will be sending out notification to all of our families officially tomorrow, but wanted to give you all a heads up that the website is up to date with all of our information after yesterday's closure. And I would also like to take a quick opportunity to thank our Buildings and Grounds crew for all the work they did on Sunday and Monday in order to prepare for today. And I would be remiss if I didn't also thank our custodial staff with Pritchard for the work that they did as well. As we all know, probably from shoveling our own sidewalks, it's a lot of work. And then when you look around our facilities to make sure that not only our sidewalks are clear, but that our parking lots are prepared for, staff to arrive, as well as all that comes with the cold temperatures and this many facilities. So they have been working a lot over the weekend, and we're really appreciative of all the work that they did. So thank you.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite and introduce our auditor, Mr. Scott Cleland, up to give us our 2024 to 2025 annual comprehensive financial report.
Thank you very much, and I'm happy to be here tonight to present the results of the audit. Any chance my lights are on? Sorry. So I'm happy to be here tonight to present the results of the audit, and I met with the Finance Committee last Tuesday evening to go over the report in detail and answer several questions that came up. Tonight, I just prepared a brief presentation to give you a high-level overview of those results. While she's pulling it up, I'll just go through it. One, the reports were required to be done by December 5th, and then it was subsequently modified to be a 1/15/2026 deadline. Your reports were filed back in December, well ahead of the deadline. Doing a different presentation format, but that's fine. Everyone has it anyway, I think, right, or not? No? Okay. So before I get going any further, I want to recognize the staff for a job well done again. I'd like to thank Chris and Derek and his team and Bonnie in the business office, because we're there quite a bit for several weeks doing the audit. Probably when it gets towards the end, they want to say, when are you getting out of here? Try again. Bonnie, you want to just click? Anyway, I was recognizing the staff for getting us all the information we needed to finish the audit and get it done on time. There were about 20% of the audits in the state that were not filed by the January 15th deadline. You were definitely not one of them. And I also want to commend the board as well as the administration for the ASBO Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting. Let's see if it works. There we go. For 17 consecutive years, this district has applied for and received the certificate, which is awarded by ASBO International. It's a review of your internal records and your financial reports and determining whether you are worthy of it. And again, in 17 consecutive years, probably about 25 to 30 districts even make an attempt to get this. And again, you should be commended for 17 straight years of getting that award. In terms of the audit, you think, okay, they're giving us an audit report, but there's a lot of areas that we look at from a revenue and expense perspective. We look at the general and school administration costs, instruction, student services, transportation, support operations, your enterprise operations, which would be your community program, as well as your food service program, your capital improvements, whether that be through cap reserve or through a debt issuance, and we look at your expenditures related to your debt service. What are the objectives of the audit? Well, our primary goal is to take the numbers that are provided by the district, ask various questions, ask for various documentation to support those numbers, and then we have to render an opinion as to whether those numbers represent fairly, the numbers are represented fairly in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, and that it would be reasonable to a reader to assume that there's nothing wrong in the presentation of the financial statements. There's a second layer that we have to look at as well, and that's internal controls and compliance. That's required by government auditing standards as well as the New Jersey Department of Education Division of Finance. And then there's a third layer of what we're supposed to do during the audit process, is that's to look at your federal and state programs. So annually, we have to perform an audit of your major federal and state programs. That would be defined as a program with expenditures in excess of $750,000 on a given year. So we do that on a rotational basis. And I'm happy to report that we did not have any items that we identified of findings for the testing of the federal or state programs during the 2025 audit. These are the various areas where we have to follow regular governmental standards, regular generally accepted auditing standards. We follow federal guidance, state guidance, and also state regulations. In the large document that I believe you received, either hard copy or as well as PDF, there are 4 sections to that. The introductory section is an unaudited section, which is basically your opportunity to show what the district has done from a non-financial perspective, talk about your accomplishments and so on. The second section is the financial section that includes our opinion. It also includes an MD&A, which I recommend definitely taking a look at because it gives you a good overview of the current year's operations, where compared to the prior year, and actually gives a look back to the third year. The statistical section is 20 different schedules giving histories, 10 years worth of history regarding tax levy, expenses, revenues, enrollment, cost per pupil, et cetera. And then the last section is a single audit section, which represents the state and federal grants that we look at during the audit process and which ones we did look at. Overall audit results, good financial position as usual here in West Windsor. The independent audit report is an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion. There are 4 levels of opinion that can be provided. This is the highest. Your financial outlook is very, very good from a reserve perspective. You have fund balance at the end of the year of just over $15.9 million of over 2%. You have capital reserve funds set aside for capital or debt service purposes of $25.5 million. You have maintenance reserve for use for maintenance purposes of 1.6. And then you have funds set aside, an emergency reserve for $1 million, which is the maximum that reserve can be, which is mainly set aside by the state for use on large increases in health benefits. Was the major reason that was a reserve established by the state of New Jersey. In looking at your internal controls, we did not identify any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. From a major federal and state program perspective, it's an unmodified opinion there as well. We did not identify anything that would be raised up to a level of a finding. The federal grant we looked at this year is IDA. The past couple of years, we spent a lot of time looking at your COVID money and how that was spent, obviously because that was a big part of your federal aid. Your annual IDA program is usually your largest program outside of COVID. And then the state grants we looked at is extraordinary aid, which is the state program where you get reimbursed for special ed costs greater than $40,000 or $55,000. And then the other grant we looked at was transportation aid. Again, no findings from the expenditures we looked at for any of those programs. And then also from a management perspective, we also have to issue a smaller 20-some-odd page report, and there are no findings in there that would require any corrective action the board will have to take action upon. As usual, very good report, clean opinion, good financial position at the end of the year. I'm sure there's a lot of districts out there now, you've probably read about a lot of them having some financial difficulties, and it's out there, it's for real. A lot of districts that have usually had pretty good financial position and fund balances are down below 2% and worried about the upcoming budget and what's going to happen with state aid, which again, we have a new governor, so who knows what's going to happen with that as well. But you at least have set yourself up to be in a good financial position going forward, which other districts may not have done that and they're struggling right now. So with that, I'll open up to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone from the board with questions? Side? No? All right, thank you so much. Really appreciate your audit, and kudos to Dr. Russo and your team. Congratulations on the 17th annual award. It seems it's become an annual award for you.
I'm going to say thanks, and I have to point my finger at Bonnie and Derek, who is not here, which you guys know well. So they run the show. Cool.
Nice. Go Bonnie and Derek. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You
Stay
too.
warm.
So that takes us to our first opportunity for public comments. The board invites thoughts and reactions on agenda items and items of concern from members of our community who are present. Each participant is asked to give his or her name and address prior to making a statement, which will be limited to 3 minutes in accordance with Board Policy 0167. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. This public comment period shall be limited to 60 minutes. Any comments? Come right up.
Hi, good evening. Dan Weiss, 15 Canoe Brook Drive, West Windsor. Just wanted to let you know that the West Windsor Council had their reorganization meeting on the 15th of January, where we assign and reassign committee appointments, and I will continue to be the liaison for the West Windsor Council to the Board of Ed. My job really is to relay the information that happens at these meetings back to our council, but it's also can be a two-way street. So if there's anything that I can do to help answer questions, anything that integrates with the township business, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dan. Any other comments?
Good evening. Ann Clifton, 18 Galston Drive. I'm the president of the West Windsor Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance, an organization, an all-volunteer organization, a nonprofit organization dedicated to making our community a better place for all to walk and bike. And part of our educational effort is to remind people how to make themselves more visible to drivers at night or in low-light conditions. And we emphasize that just because you can see the car's headlights doesn't mean the driver can see you. Another part of our educational aspect is to remind drivers how to drive safely with cyclists and pedestrians. So I just want to provide a short update on what we've been doing with the schools since October, and again, I'm very grateful for these opportunities. At the end of October, at High School North, just before the clocks changed, working through one lunch period with the PTSA, we distributed 100 reflective tags for kids' backpacks, 185 in all. Also a safety flyer about using lights, pushing the buttons for the beacons to flash at crosswalks, using lights on your bikes, wearing reflective gear. We did the same thing in December at High School South during a lunch period. 250 of these tags we gave out. Earlier this month at Community Middle School, we gave out themed reflective stickers to 225 students who are waiting to go to their after-school clubs. Some of these materials were purchased either by the school, the PTSAs, or by the West Windsor Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance. Last Friday at Village School, one of our student advisors gave 20-minute presentations to 9 of the 4th grade classes, about 190 students or teachers combined. We also gave to the students reflective stickers that they could put on their backpack or their bike helmet or their scooter or the bicycle seat post. We reminded them that they're not for water bottles and Chromebooks. And with the tags that we gave out to the high school students, if they didn't want to put on their backpack, jacket zipper works pretty well too. As far as driving, one of my colleagues, Jerry Foster, a retired transportation safety educator, presented to High School South sophomores in driver's ed to all 6 periods, so about 300 students according to the faculty who is there. A slide presentation with actual pictures that he has taken around town, either Princeton, Montgomery, Plainsboro, West Windsor, of actual scenarios with drivers interacting with cyclists or pedestrians, either things that were done well or not done well. So we're trying to make the point with the kids, not the kids, but the youth, but just before they get to, they get their license, this is how you want to drive more safely. So we are very grateful for these opportunities, and I'm very grateful to the principals who hosted the West Windsor Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance, their assistant principals, PTSA, who coordinated all this, and if I could just finish up 1 second. And we look forward to continued partnerships with the school district in our mutual efforts to keep students safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ann, and we are appreciative of you, especially some of us either have sophomores currently in driver's ed or recently licensed drivers in our households here on the board.
And if
So-
I may also thank Elizabeth, who gave me some of the introductions to the High School South PTSA. Thank you.
Nice, thank you. Great job, Liz. Well, seeing no other comments, I'll close this public comment period and move on to committee reports. So first, I'd like to invite Liz for our Administration and Facilities Committee report.
The Administration Facilities Committee met on January 20th in the central office. Ms. Sankata had provided an overview of the Administration Facilities Committee while highlighting frequent agenda items, including the review of the Board of Education policies and regulations, agreements and contracts, school safety and security, human resources and athletics, as well as the district's strategic plan. The committee reviewed as first reading items, policies and procedures. The first one was regarding nepotism, policy 0142.1. This is an existing policy that's been recommended for readoption without any material revisions. It is being updated to better align with the New Jersey Administrative Code. The second policy, P1220, employment of the chief school administrator, is also an existing policy with minimal material revisions. The committee reviewed the above policies and recommended them for the first reading at tonight's board meeting. We then discussed athletics. Ms. Sankata provided an overview of athletics at the high school and middle school levels. This overview included highlights from the winter season as well as discussions that the committee has had in the past engaged around our athletic program. The committee was presented by Ms. Melissa Levine, who is the Director of Special Services, to discuss a program called Angel Sense. She shared that the purpose of the one-way and two-way talk system that is being used by some parents and school districts in order to support student safety and location. Further research will be done by the district prior to any policy change that is being brought forth to the committee in the future. This is just a preliminary discussion. The next meeting of the committee will take place on February 18th, 7 p.m. at the central office.
Thanks, Liz. Any questions for Administration Facilities? Nope. Okay, so I'd like to invite Shweta for Curriculum Committee report.
Thank you. The Curriculum Committee met on January 20th. Dr. Gold reviewed the purpose and functions of the committee and welcomed our new member, Sharon DeSebastian. Dr. Gold reviewed the summer courses offering with committee members, which are scheduled for approval tonight. All summer courses will be for 4 weeks and in person. Families can sign up through community education beginning on February 2nd. Dr. Gold also reviewed the structure and some of the offerings for the district's February 13th Professional Development Day. The Curriculum Committee recommends approval of the professional development consultant for Don't Diet Dietitians LLC to provide a 90-minute transforming student wellness, innovative interventions for food, body image, and nutritional challenges PD workshop to district staff on February 13th at a cost not to exceed $950, which is paid through Title IV grant funds. The Curriculum Committee also recommends approval of the following summer courses. District Financial Literacy course at a cost of $500 per student. And upon successful completion, students will receive 2.5 credits. Introduction to Discrete Math course at a cost of $500 per student. Student will also receive 2.5 credits. Discrete Math Part 2 at a cost of $500 per student. Student will receive 2.5 credits. And then Introduction to Data Science course at a cost of $500 per student, 2.5 credits. District Marine Science course, also at a cost of $500 per student, 2.5 credits. And the District Asian American Pacific Islander Studies course at a cost of $500 and 2.5 credits. The Curriculum Committee recommends acceptance of a donation of one 14-inch viola donated by Larissa Lee Lunn of West Windsor resident for use by the district's music department. The Curriculum Committee recommends approval for teacher travel, one district math supervisor to attend Integro Numeracy Solutions Advantage virtually at a cost not to exceed $1,340, which is partially paid through contractual funds, and one district administrator to attend LRP National Institute in New Orleans, Louisiana, at a cost not to exceed $4,500, partially paid through contractual funds. The Curriculum Committee also recommends approval of the field trips for High School North, Future Business Leaders of America to San Antonio, Texas, from June 28th through July 2nd. The cost of the trip is approximately $2,000 per student. And the West Windsor-Plainsboro United Cheerleaders to the National Conference Championship in Orlando, Florida, from February 5th through February 9th. The cost of the trip is approximately $1,200 per student. And the next meeting will be on February 18th.
All right, thanks, Shweta. Any questions for the committee? I don't have a question, but I do just have a brief comment that I appreciate seeing how the district is making data-driven decisions after the presentation we just heard and the recommendation to approve the professional development on student wellness and food and body image. So that's really nice to see. Anyway, moving on, I'm going to invite Dana to give us a Finance Committee report.
Okay, good evening. We also met on January 20th. We also got an overview of what our committee does, and we reviewed our agenda items. The committee reviewed the financial reports for the month. The administration affirmed that no lines were overexpended and that there are sufficient funds to complete the year. The budget spending is tracking similarly to prior years. The following are on the agenda for approval. Approval of the 24-25 annual audit, the sale of solar renewable energy certificates, or SRECs, the acceptance of a water improvement infrastructure grant, the disposal of obsolete equipment, the results of the transportation quotes that were recently received, and travel and related expenses for staff professional development. As far as SRECs, or solar renewable energy credits, there will be an auction on February 11th, and there were 111 SRECs created for sale. Many of these are SRECs created for High School North are Class 1, which means the system has reached the end of its useful life, and the value will be much less than the SRECs received at High School South. The 2026-2027 budget process and updated budget calendar was next discussed, and the administration shared that the mid-year budget review was held at the County Office of Education. The current year's budget was reviewed along with discussions around the development of the 26-27 budget. The calendar was also provided, the budget calendar was also provided to the committee, and the administration continues to work on the budget. Cafeteria, which you've all been waiting to hear about. The number of meals served to students continues to increase year over year. As of December 2025, with one more serving day, 4,095 more breakfasts have been served compared to last school year. The number of lunches served during the same time period has increased by 11,221. Overall, there's been a 5% increase in the number of lunches served to students eligible for free, reduced, and New Jersey income eligible meals. The number has risen from 459 students to 480 students. The average daily lunch participation has increased by 2% for the month of December year over year, from 2,287 to 2,323. Daily breakfast in the classroom at the elementary level usage increased year over year for the month of December by 21, with 76% of these meals going to students who are eligible for free, reduced, or New Jersey income eligible. We also served 39 lunches on the half-day pilot, and that was done at Maurice Hawk on December 23rd, with 49% of those meals going to students eligible for free, reduced, or income eligible meals. We anticipate transitioning to a new healthy vending machine company during the month of January. These machines will offer healthy snacks and beverages. Transportation. Administration shared the results of recent quotes for special education and student activities for students starting internships, and for the music department to travel from High School South to Grover Middle School. We had the audit presentation, which we just had here. The auditor presented the audit to the committee. He shared that district is in good financial shape and that there were no audit recommendations. He shared that the district does a very good job handling the district's finances, which we also heard a few minutes ago. We also discussed tentative finance committee meeting dates. And other business, the district received the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Association of School Business Officials for the fiscal year ending 2024. Work on ESIP 2 has been completed, which mostly consists of an entirely new HVAC system at Hawk Elementary School, new rooftop units over the gym at Grover Middle School, and new boilers at Village Elementary School. Design meetings continue regarding the construction of the solar carports that will help fund the ESIP 2 facility improvements. We will next meet on Wednesday, February 18th.
Thanks, Dana. Any questions from the board for finance? Okay, so that takes us to the voting portion of our meeting. Can I get a motion for administration items numbers 1 through 6? Liz and Ajanta? Any question? Oh.
Purple addenda.
Oh, I thought that was under personnel, my bad. Thank you, good call. Oh, I wrote that down wrong in my notes. Yes, so administration items numbers 1 through 6, plus the 2 purple/lavender agendas, numbers 1 and 2, Liz and Ajanta. Questions or comments?
Okay, we'll start with Ms. Cheniera,
Yes.
Ms. Shaw, Ms. DeSebastian,
Yes.
Ms. Krug,
Yes.
Ms. Maliga,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien. Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Shetty,
Yes.
Ms. McEwen.
Yes.
Just one note. Just please
Oh,
note
yes.
that there should be just abstentions for Mr. O'Brien and for Ms. Sebastian for addenda item number 2.
Number 2.
And I think that just got mixed because we originally had it in personnel and it just got moved. So that's why. And did I accurately reflect the vote for the abstention for those? So
Yes.
my apologies, Dr. Russo. Sorry.
Yeah, makes sense.
We're good. I just lost my train of thought. Did we do? Yes, we just voted. Okay,
Yes.
so we're good. We're good on this one. Okay, we're good. Okay, so now.
Yes.
No, thank you. Thank you for keeping us straight. So we're all good on that one. Okay, can I get a motion for curriculum and instruction items numbers 1 through 4? Shweta and Sharon. Any questions or comments?
Okay, we'll start with Ms. Shetty,
Yes.
Ms. DeSebastian,
Yes.
Ms. Maliga,
Yes.
Ms. Cheniera,
Yes.
Ms. Krug,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Ms. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. McEwen.
Yes. And can I get a motion for finance?
Yeah, I so bad want to have a little song that does that. I can't think of the song that's in my head, motions carry, but that's not the right words. But anyway.
Okay, so can I get a motion for finance items numbers 1 through 14? Dana and Paul, any questions or comments?
Okay, we'll start with Ms. Krug.
Yes, except I abstain on 14B.
14B. Okay. Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Ms. DeSebastian,
Yes.
Ms. Cheniera,
Yes.
Ms. Maliga,
Yes.
Ms. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Shetty,
Yes.
Ms. McEwen.
Yes. Can I get a motion for personnel items number 1 and 2, plus the green, yellow, and pink addenda? Loy and Ajanta, any questions or comments? Go ahead, Liz.
I also believe for 14B, I should be abstaining since I'm also attending the conference.
For the last motion. 14B. I have it. Well, I haven't written it down, but I have it in my head.
Thank you.
I'm not there yet. Okay, there we go. 14B.
I think
Thank
the snow is throwing us all off, right? We've got snow in the brain.
I have a little rust,
Yeah.
need a little oil.
Okay, yes, now we're on to personnel.
All right.
Loy and Ajanta.
And there were no comments for this motion.
Right.
All right. So we'll start with Ms. Maliga,
Yes.
Ms. Shah,
Yes.
Ms. DeSebastian,
Yes.
Ms. Cheniera,
Yes.
Ms. Krug,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Ms. Shetty,
Yes.
Ms. McEwen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We like to have fun with this. And before we move on, though, we do want to acknowledge two retirements. First is David Saraghetti, our community middle school art teacher, who's retiring after 25 years serving WWP, as well as Kimberly Natoli, our community middle school secretary, who is also retiring after 25 years serving in WWP. We thank you for your dedication, lots of years of service, and we wish you well on this new chapter of your lives. So thank you. And next, can I get a motion to approve the Board of Education minutes from December 16th, 18th, and January 6th? Dana and Loy, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any abstentions?
One
Me.
sec.
I abstain.
Abstain from
Okay, so we have
December 16.
December 16th for Mr. O'Brien, and the 2 December dates for Ms. DeSebastian, who is not yet a member of the board at that time.
Perfect. Do we have any board liaison reports? I feel like
I would
Yeah,
just
Liz.
like to say, as, very much appreciated the presentation that was made today, and I know all the different PTSAs have been very actively involved with ensuring the safety of students. And, some of our kids had attended that driver's ed program, and it was, a lot of important content for them to receive. So it's very important to see how much they're engaging the Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance group. They're really making a concentrated effort and really engaged. So, thank you.
Right, thank you. Go ahead, Dana.
I almost forgot. We had, last Thursday, we had the Mercer County School Board Association meeting. It was virtual. And we had 3 superintendents from Mercer County come and talk to us about superintendent and board relations. So it was a very well-attended presentation and got a lot of good information, insights. And also upcoming, and you're all invited to this as well, is the Unsung Heroes, which is going to be at High School South, as it has been for the last 2 years. And this is on March 19th. And this is where we honor students who don't regularly get acknowledged from, sort of the standard kinds of recognition programs we have in the district, and we want to honor them for their dedication and their perseverance and support. So we'll be doing that for the entire county. Each student, there's going to be one student from each high school who will be a senior who we're going to honor in that way. It's a really nice event, so you're going to want to come. It's great. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Dana. Yeah, it's really, really inspiring to hear the stories from the students who get honored at that event. So, yes, highly recommend. And one last thing, unless anybody else has a board liaison report? Nope. A couple of us were able to go to the Muslim Heritage program. It was an educational event at the Greater Muslim Center of Greater Princeton. I think I might added a couple of extra words there, but yeah, that was also a really good learning moment and a way to connect with the community. And do we have any new business? This takes us to our second opportunity for public comments. So the board invites comments from members of our community who are present. Each participant is asked to give his name and address prior to making a statement, which will be limited to 3 minutes in accordance with Board Policy 0167. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. This public comment period shall be limited to 15 minutes. Do you want to go again? Okay. Seeing none, I'll close this public comment period and move to adjourn. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Paul and Sharon. All in favor say aye. Aye. Excellent. Thank you and good night.